Record. Intro. We're back. I like this hook. You got a book you want to tell us about? Well, let's talk. There's no other place to do it. Only on Catch the Craze. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George, the Dreamer, Medina. Am I even on beat? I don't even know, because as soon as I started talking, it goes away.
Yes, no. So here's the thing, because it's capturing one audio at a time. So again, part of this whole upgrading at technology, I have to go and spend an entire day and figure out. I have to download a virtual audio cable and all this virtual stuff and hook up these things to have Streamless, so this way you can hear it.
Nice.
I haven't done that yet with OBS because I just upgraded and OBS wasn't connecting with the new Mac OS and Zoom, so it's a nightmare situation.
Yeah. No, I hear you, dude. I hear you. So what's going on, man? How's everything?
Everything is everything, buddy.
Everything is everything.
Yes. Last time we talked, we were at what was it, 108 subscribers, and now we're at 112. So we added 4 since the last episode. So thank you for subscribing and supporting Catch the Craze podcast. Truly appreciate it.
And by the time this airs, we'll probably hopefully have some more, because this is our July 30. I want to say July 31st episode.
Yeah, you know better than me. I can tell you.
This is the last day in July.
Right.
We have our friend from Enemi Entertainment.
Yes.
Coming in and speaking with us for a little bit. John, we've known John for a long time.
Yeah. Episode 196. We're at episode 196. Boy, that's crazy.
196, dude. Mm-hmm. 196. That is insane, bro.
Insane in the membrane.
It's insane how time is just flying by, brother.
Yeah, time is not our friend.
No, it isn't. Yeah, this is the July 31st. Yeah, so John's gonna be on the show. He's gonna be talking to us about Enemi Entertainment. He dabbled a little bit in the distribution game, so we'll ask him a little bit about that. And man, it's been quite a month. We've had a lot of really good guests on the show this month. Next month, we're hoping to do the same. I know you got some people down the pipe. We talked to some independent publishers this month. Yeah,
we have Black Moss Comics coming on the show.
No, we did that show already. That already came.
Did we?
On the show.
And we did. We had Amazing Action Comics come on the show.
Yes.
There you go.
We had them. Those two.
And we did that. And then we have holy smoke and no less. We have quite a few guests on the pipeline. You gotta look this up. Well,
I know that you sent me a text about Hydra.
Yes, Hydra. Yes, hail Hydra.
Yeah.
We'll be on the show soon, so that's also pretty cool. Let's see. I'll tell you right now. It's Hydro Comics. We met. So he subscribed, reached out, liked what we were doing. I think he was like, man, because it was it was a Saturday morning, and I uploaded at 7 or 8 in the morning. I uploaded the Craze Nintendo LS, and his response was like, man, first day in the morning. It was like everybody's sleeping and I'm over here grinding. And so then we hooked up, and I was like, and you want to be on the show? Yep. So he's booked for the show, so that's good. Got a good YouTube channel, so check it out. And we have this the Sci-Fax live that we did done by the time you saw this, which is pretty fun.
Yes.
Yes.
We have next week will be our live show, and I think we're still in the works. I mean, August is still up in the we're still working on August, only because we record this show we're actually recording it on Father's Day. So
yes. The Hydra issue will be in one of them in August. It'll be the second one
in August, right? Yes. Yeah. And then you have there's a show. I think you reached out. I can't remember the name of the guy for the
Oh
live
yes,
show.
Justin the Rican. We're working on that.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So August is still a work in progress. We haven't recorded any other shows yet. We do pre-record the shows for you guys, and then kind of just there's no editing. We just kind of go with it, and whatever comes out comes out. It's just not live. So that's why we're like,
there's flag on the play, flag on the play. So because of all these technical issues, there is editing.
You've had to edit.
Yes. So because all these technical mumbo jumbo is forcing me to go in. Because the last one of the shows we did, I just upgraded. I talked about it before, and the OS wasn't allowing OBS and Zoom to speak to each other, and so I had to just record in Zoom with none of this stuff in the background. So I had to import that video into my video editing program, and then add all of the Catch the Craze branding.
So a further caveat to that, when I say editing, it means you're not taking out certain conversations that were had during the interview.
None of that.
The interview is the interview. So whatever was said during that interview, none of that is spliced up, cut out. Everything is just as it is. What you're doing as far as editing is just trying to make sure that the sound, the mouths are moving at the same time as the audio, and those kind of things, right? Yeah. So just for our guests, just so you know, whatever you're saying is not being edited.
Right.
This thing comes out as it is. So But yeah. And today, I guess, like every show, we have a topic for today. And I piggyback today's Get Your Meds segment, which I love that little video you sent me of how you have the
speaking of Get Your Meds, here it is. We're gonna go into it.
It's time for your medicine.
So that's the intro to Get Your Meds.
I can't see it, but I'm sure it was good.
It's pretty dope.
I saw it already. You showed it to me, but that's awesome, dude. I like that another little wrinkle into the production. Yes. So that's awesome, dude.
You know how my mind,
that's awesome.
how my mind works.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. That's good. So so today on Get Your Meds, we're talking about Beyond the Comics.
Beyond Comics.
All right. And this is a piggyback for you followers, faithful followers who have subscribed to the channel. You probably have seen the Craze in Less Than 10. And Sam, you had a very interesting topic that I kind of got me thinking, and it was where to invest your money.
Yes.
Right? Do you invest it in I think it was like toys and stuff like that, or just the comics? And so I started thinking, beyond the comics, and we have to think beyond the comics as creators, because as much as I love comic books, that's not necessarily where the money is. Actually, that's not where the money is. It costs you more money to print the comic than it does the money you're going to make on it.
Right.
So, which is why, and we've spoken about this in the past, licensing is important and things of that nature. So yes, I kind of wanted to talk about that today. Just beyond the comics. Let's talk about beyond the comics. So you made some interesting points. You had some figures. You said that when you're trying to do these figurines, like let's say for example, you're trying to dabble into the whole, I want to make some toys out of my comics.
Right.
You said you would have to produce a minimum of 5,000 units.
Right.
5,000 units at $8, between 8 and 12. So I just said 10. Nice round number, $50,000 that you would have to come out of pocket to do that.
And I got nothing but lit in my pockets.
That's a lot of money.
Oh, it's a lot of cheddar. A lot of cheddar.
That's
Could make a lot of grilled cheese sandwiches with that.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So what do you do, right? That's when I guess the investors have to come in. So I know that you spoke a little bit about that. So can you just talk a little bit more about like planning for something like that?
So yes.
What if you want that?
What if you wanted it? So that's where the biggest thing, and I talk from personal experience, and in the beginning of the indie movement, was sparked by Image Comics. There was a lot of us that were looking to make a statement, right? Branding, right? So I think it's like my mom used to say, you eat with your eyes, right? You know, it's like, I want everything on the plate, just load it up, right? And then next year, you're walking away, your stomach's full and half the plate's still there.
Yeah.
Similar thing. You're not ready to take on that responsibility. And I learned that just from watching some of peers in the industry, but also with how much it costs. So if the biggest mistake we make is we think that our stuff is so amazing that if we do it, the world's going to want it. And that's not the case because you're competing with the world. Everybody has an idea. Everybody has a prototype. Everybody wants to be the next best thing. So my argument was work on your craft. Invest in the book, right? And this is from firsthand experience. Invest in your book. Finish your book. Get the word out. Gain some credibility. Gain some traction. Get some sales. Get a loyal fan base, build an email database where you have people, there's a demand for it. When you have the store saying, when's the next issue, and you have a wide distribution, if you're doing stuff locally and you can't get beyond your city, it's not worth it. You know what I mean? Because the other cities within the states, people don't know who you are. So my suggestion, as tough as it sounds, is invest, put all your heart and soul into your book. When your book is complete, not just issue 1, your series, when it's complete. I think
that's key.
Yes.
That's the key.
The key is finish the entire arc, the cycle.
That's the key.
And then market the hell out of it. Let it gain some traction. Get invited to do signings. Get invited. No, don't go and do what Sam the Crazy Man Vera did back in the days where I was like, come on, can I come in? Right? It's get invited. When they start calling you and say, hey, we'd like you to appear at this Barnes & Noble's on, Cheddar Street. Or, can you come to this college and speak? We have an auditorium full of students that we want you to speak about your book and your craft. When that starts happening, that's the first signal, hey, I got something. Then start small. You can go into shirts. And the great thing about that is that you have all these websites that you don't have to spend anything out of your pocket. You can put your branding and your logo and create a store, and people can buy it from them. The only time
but let me just, and I like you. I like the fact that you brought that up. But okay, so Amazon, for example, has that capability.
Right
now, this is, I think, another mistake that we make as independent artists and creators is that we want to make that money fast.
Yes.
You want to make that money fast. I think as an independent creator, there's a choice you have to make, right? Yes, everybody's in it for the money. Everybody wants, to get paid and make this a living, right?
Right.
But there's baby steps to that thing. And what you're talking about as far as those t-shirts, because I'm thinking you have, right? You've done that, right?
Yeah.
Where you have, okay. So I have one too, Amazon, right? Amazon prints out my shirts. Amazon gives you nothing. You probably make about $1 per shirt, right? Now, people may say, "Damn, dude, I can maybe print out some shirts and make $5 at a show." Don't get money hungry like that.
No,
that's not the point. That's not the point. Because if you think about it that way, you're gonna spend more money to make those $5 than you would to make the $1. Yes. Because in my experience, Amazon takes care of everything, dude.
Yes.
All I do is upload an image, and they take care of the shipping. If anybody has a problem with that shipping, they contact Amazon. All I do is get a check at the end of the month for the shirts that I sold. And if I hustle, my shirts get sold.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think that we have to kind of like also let people know, listen, you're not going to make $1 million unless if you're hustling hard, you will. Right. You know what I mean? But that t-shirt thing, yeah, it goes into that. But I think that we have to also think, man, you can't think, oh, quick money scheme. I'll make this money fast. Right. It's got to take some time. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we made that mistake. I think, I still have some Disney in my taillight shirts. You know what I mean?
Because what size do you buy?
Yes.
You know what I mean? What size? You have to buy, I guess, medium, large, extra large. People aren't wearing extra larges anymore the way they did back in the early 2000s.
Right.
So people are wearing things that are more fitted now. You know what I mean? So that's changed. So now you're sitting on an extra large. You know what I mean? Sometimes customers that came to a table were big guys. They wanted to rock the shirt, but we didn't have a double XL because we never thought that person was going to come to the table to buy a shirt.
Right.
So, then you're stuck with all that stuff.
So when you think about it, if you're thinking about just getting your name out, you're not doing anything but uploading. So you make $1 that you didn't have. an extra dollar. Right. So you sell 100, you got $100 you didn't have, right? So, and it's just about really branding yourself. Now, this is only for those content creators. Again, if you're if you're just a writer and you're not looking for all that stuff, don't worry about it. If you're just an artist and you just want to freelance, don't worry about it. But if you are an independent publisher, an independent creator, or comic writer, artist, team combo, build your brand first. Get your name out first. Build your social media presence first. You know what I mean? And I think that's when everyone starts reaching out and saying, hey, when are you going to have this? And you hear it dozens of times from multiple people from different walks of life. You got something. That's your cue. The world will send you a signal when we're ready for you. Not, the other way around was when we were growing in the business, we were so overly ambitious, I would say obnoxious and arrogant, where it was like, you're going to want my stuff. And so we're spending money we don't have. We're, producing stuff because we want to show diversity. Well, if your character has life, if your character has appeal, they'll tell you. Hardest pill to swallow is forget your own opinion. Forget that your mom loves everything you do and your family's going to support you. Oh, this is great. Let the audience out there tell you if it's great. And they'll tell you when they're ready to spend more money on you and invest in you, because they're investing in you. Mm-hmm. That's why I say wait for the fish to come to you, to swim to shore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think there are some key elements that we spoke about just in these last few minutes. And I think that when you're thinking about creating, and like you said, this is to the people who are creating a book, not just to the writer, like you said, who just wants to write, or the artist who just wants to draw freelance. No, this is the guy who created, Mr. Whatever, and he wants to sell Mr. Whatever to the masses, right? It starts with the comic.
Yes.
It does. It starts with the comic. But you have to think beyond that, you said, first issue. You have to think about a brand, right? You have to think about, okay, how am I going to sell this brand? Whether it's merchandise, okay, sell the merchandise, appearances. But like you said, get invited to these shows.
Yes.
Try not to spend out of money. Maybe get some advertising in your books. If you have enough following, treat it like the big guys do. You know what I mean? These guys, they don't make money on the comics, but the comics pay for themselves through advertisement. How much is an ad in a Marvel comic cost? $10,000. Right. You know what I mean? So they're good. They can print that book out all they want now. So treat it the same way. Why not? Why not sell an ad in your book for $100?
Right.
You know what I mean? Why not? Helps with the $2.82 for the black and white copy of the book that you have to pay out of pocket to print out. Now you're alleviating a little bit of your money. So I think you have to think big. Think big. Think like you're an actual, enterprise in a sense, but within your means. And I think that's a tough line to kind of walk. But I think you find it. The longer you do this and the more mistakes you make, like you said, you find it. And shows like this, for example, not to toot our own horns, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to, listen, this is what we did. That didn't work. This is what we should have done, and we didn't do it. If you're starting out now's the time to correct those things and think about having 3 books in the can, 4 books in the can before you bring it out.
Yeah.
So,
that's the approach that I took, with Forbidden and the books that I'm working on. It's let the world get to read it, tell me what they think, ask for more if they like it. Let the audience will let me know what's the next step for that. Mm-hmm. My investment was into Catch the Craze. The equipment and my education and understanding all this other stuff, and where there's and again, it all depends on what you want to get from it. So when I think about they're 2 different mediums, but when I think about Catch the Craze, I just didn't want to put up a camera and just say let's just start talking, and I wanted to create an official channel where independents across the world have an opportunity to say, hey, let's talk. I want to talk on Catch the Craze. I want to promote my book. I want to talk about this. And to create a platform that's going to last and have credibility and longevity. So that means I had to invest in things. With the comic books, I just had to pay for an artist, right? And we're working on it and see what happens, and then let's see what goes from there. And where 10 years ago, I was blowing money left and right on everything. Shirts and buttons and postcards and press kits and hats and, prototypes and, you know what I mean? And in hindsight, I wish I knew then what I knew now. Everybody says that, and it's a fact. So if I can share my poor judgment with people, because it was poor judgment, and then you can learn from it and walk away a little better than you were yesterday, then so be it.
I think the idea was right. Yeah. I think the idea of doing all the things that we did, the prototypes, the this, the that, all of that was right. The mindset was correct. It was the execution that maybe it was rushed. Maybe it was with we were working outside of our means. It was like you said, and you made a good point in that 10 Craze in 10 or less, where you said I should not have, and not that you did, but I should not have spent $50,000 on a figurine when nobody knows who the hell I am.
Yeah.
Right. So let me take it baby steps. Let me build that audience. Let somebody else pay the $50,000 for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the lesson. That's the lesson. The beauty of being an independent publisher is that the shelf life of our product is forever, dude.
Yes.
Think about it. If you put out a product, we put out Forbidden, I don't know, 10 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
That product is still relevant today only because how many people saw it back then?
Right.
You know what?
Right.
It's not like it hit, a huge millions of people like they're bringing that thing back. No, nobody probably knows that. Now it's new. It's brand new to the new crop of people that are coming out. The shelf life is forever.
And that's
don't panic.
Yes, that's exactly my point, because I was saying that before. I said nobody knows other than if you went to those conventions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't have the social media we have now. We had forums. We had forums, and forums practically are extinct almost. You'll find them on DeviantArt and art channels. But so what and the cue for me was when I started posting "There's an Alien on My Toilet" on my social media now, and I'm getting feedback. Oh, the character's so cute. Oh, he's adorable. Oh, this, that, and I'm getting it from different channels, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram. Yeah. So for me, it's like So
it's a rebirth.
Yeah, it's a rebirth. Same thing. Yeah. So I think that's what it is. It's like I think what happens is we think we have to always create something new. No, you just got to finish what you started.
Yeah, exactly right.
Finish what you started.
Exactly.
And and for me was I have holes. I never got to finish what I started. So I get a second chance to do so. Yeah. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And the other beauty of that too is like when I'm sure, when you bring out Duty again and you're at a show, hopefully we can still do shows in the near future. But when you're at a show, the most rewarding thing is when somebody who maybe bought your product years ago comes back and says, "Oh my God, I have the original book." You know what?
That nobody
has. That in itself is rewarding because now that's a vintage piece of art. You know what I mean? That you're like, holy cow. And now that's a true fan because, that person has kept that this whole time, So yeah, I mean, thinking about beyond the comics, don't panic, dude. Like, take your time with it, make sure you have a strategy and follow that strategy, follow through.
Back to that song. Take your time, young man. Mama used to say, "Don't you work to get old." Mama used to say, you know what I mean? So anyway, Daphne said it on a post on Daphne Lage, who's a fabulous, fabulous artist. She does tall tales. She said, gave advice to artists or comic book artists who are constantly going back and revising their old work. You evolve. Leave it alone. Leave it where it is. You evolve. The story will evolve. You'll get better. The story gets better. But respect your work. And I think that's what happens. So I didn't come back and say, I'm going to redraw Duty. I'm going to go rewrite Duty. I said, no, I love it the way it is. And where I go with it next might be a little different. it might, my perspective might have changed and gotten better and all that stuff, whatever. So be it. But I'm gonna leave it the way it is. So when I saw that, I was like, that's really good advice, because you see people over and over again trying to, let me redraw that, let me redo that page, or let me go back, and you already printed it. You already got it ready for the press, or whatever it is. Leave it alone, keep it moving, and be confident with the work that you produced.
Yeah. Yep. So that's beyond the comics, kids. That's beyond the comics. Definitely, you make sure you are branding yourself.
Yes.
Sell some merchandise if you can. Don't go crazy. Don't come out of your pocket for it. There are plenty of websites that allow you to print through them without even you having to spend any money on shipping or any of that stuff. Word. So look for those things. Amazon's a perfect way to do it.
Yeah.
And then when we start getting out there again, if you can make appearances at a comic book shop, or if you can make appearances at a bookstore or things like that, start do those kind of things,
yes.
And build that audience so that investors say, hey man, that looks kind of interesting. We'll throw you some bucks towards, pushing your stuff forward.
Because everybody
it does
wants
have
content.
to go beyond the comics.
It has to.
It has to go beyond the comics. You can't stay with just the comics, unless, like you said, you're an artist who just wants to freelance, or a writer who just wants to write.
That's it. Then do your thing. I ain't mad at you.
No, hell no. Not at all, man. Not at all. But yeah, dude.
But I do want to, I hurt my arm somehow. I do want to share. I don't know what happened, but I'm always getting older. Dude. I got this in the mail, which is the Darksiders, by Joe Madura. So I have
nice
volumes 1 and 2. I will be going over this in the Craze in 10 or less. I'm excited about the artwork in this bad boy. It's crazy.
Nice little plug. And knowing you might have already done it.
No, I've been dealing with these technical issues, man. I dropped the Craze in 10 or less because I was making myself coffee, and the topic came in my head as I was doing the coffee. I said, okay. So I ran up to the studio, said, boom, record, and I did it. So that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's what happens with the Crazy 10 or less. It's not premeditated at all. So where like the beyond, like the get your meds, I know it's premeditated. You're thinking about methodically, what kind of topics should we need? Sam is impulsive, I'm like, and I have to be in the mood, because I think I get really frustrated with the technology piece of everything because it doesn't keep up with me. And so, like, I haven't done anything for I Create Stories channel because I've been focusing on the Craze and networking. Right now, I've just been networking with a lot of podcasters and a lot of content creators on YouTube, and just building a network. And I think that's going, strength in numbers. The more that we support each other out there, the better it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still waiting for, it's, should be any second now.
Mr. John? Yeah. You send him that
yes,
thing,
I
right?
said I just used this instead. Let me see if it went. And use this instead. Yeah. So hopefully he got that one.
Yeah.
But
now you know what it is with those sometimes you're not looking for them, so you don't look at your phone unless you told him to check them out.
Yeah, he
could get him.
He could be sending me an email. It don't work. Yeah, because he didn't use the second one that I sent. Let's see. No, I didn't get an email. Yeah.
No, I'm saying he probably doesn't even know that he's got an email. Let me see if I can send him something.
Yeah, but I'm waiting on New York Comic Con to tell me whether or not they're gonna go forward in the fall, and if they are in July, they'll let us know who got accepted, who didn't. I'm hoping this will be my first big appearance in 10 years.
Wow.
I did 2 small shows last year. It's my coming out party. So last year was testing the waters. I was dipping my toe in the waters, like, do I want to do this again? So I did Kids Comic Con, and I did White Plains Comic Con, and then I did the radio show with Mark. It came from the radio, and so that was my way of just testing the waters and saying, all right, this feels good. I still have my integrity intact, and
my integrity intact.
You know what I mean? I was like, all right, because I can tell you, when I stopped doing cons for a while, and then I went to a con as a spectator, I felt so out of pocket. I felt so uncomfortable. Like I was like, oh, I felt like I was like, you know, like when you go into the neighbor's yard and you don't know the neighbor, how awkward that feels, right? Yeah, that's how I felt. It's like, oh man, it's been a while. What you know? So going in now on the back end as a content creator, it was a little weird at first and humbling.
It's yeah. I mean, I'm intrigued. I want to. I mean, obviously, they probably feel like, hey, you know what? It's not until October, so we should be fine by then.
But the problem is
Um,
now there's the scare tactics going on, saying, "Oh, it's getting extreme." The problem is if more people are getting tested, which is why you're getting more and more results.
yeah.
So with that, there's creating this fear and hysteria about the fall is going to be worse. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be chaotic, and so people are like creating these bunkers and end of the world
Well,
shelters and
you know what it is. It's I mean, COVID-19, right? It's like, and I'm not saying it's like I'm not comparing it. I guess I am comparing it to the flu, right? But I'm comparing it to the flu in the sense that it's a coronavirus. So it's like influenza. It's gonna come back. It's bound to come back. You know what I mean? Like it's just gonna happen. This it really is gonna happen. There's really nothing we can do now. What they have to do is find a vaccine. But there are ways to kind of
I think
you can't
it's
stop.
I think
You
it's
can't
really,
just stop living. You know
right.
what I
I
mean?
think
Like
it's
that's
about
the whole thing.
understanding what your body needs for a strong immune system, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's just educating ourselves. And I have, and it's expensive, but I have oregano oil and black seed oil, and I have echinacea, and I have
You're a
vitamin
freaking,
D.
you're a freaking witch doctor, bro.
I have zinc, iron, I have turmeric, I have ginger, right? So I create teas every day. Like I drink these
Yeah,
teas.
I tell you, a witch doctor. Yeah.
It's like
You sit
it's
around
like who what
smoking
who what
things.
who what who what right. So I have like the tea that I make. It's green tea, but I throw in real ginger, real turmeric. I put in cinnamon in the tea. I'll put in a piece of garlic in there. I have a drop of oregano oil. I will put in a shot of apple cider vinegar in there, right? I mix it all up and I drink that once a day. And what I'm telling you, when this whole thing started, when I was bedridden for 15 days, that's all I drank. All right, so here we go. He's in the waiting room. We're gonna go to commercial, and we come
Yo,
back.
you got the serious ADD. You're in the middle of a
I'm in the
okay,
middle.
gotta go now.
All right, so yeah, so
All
what?
right,
All right.
we'll come back.
There is no better way to start the day than with a cup of joe and an episode of Catch the Craze.
I'm so crazy, you so crazy, crazy. Who's the craziest? I'm so crazy, you so crazy, crazy. Who's the craziest? I'm so crazy, you so crazy, crazy. Who's the craziest?
Welcome,
What's
John.
up, guys?
How's it going?
John,
Welcome.
what's going on,
Hey,
brother?
what's going on?
Not much, man. Not much.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Yes.
It has. It has. Everybody, this is John Kotsis of Enemi Entertainment.
Yes.
And he's joined the show today. Thank you very much, John, for being on the show. We're going to
You're
talk
welcome.
about a
Thanks
lot
for
of
having
stuff.
me.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of things. We've known John for a very long time. Do you remember how we met, John, or where we met?
Comic-Con,
Big
Big
Apple.
Apple Show.
Yes, you had like
Back in the days, in 2007, around there, I believe.
you
Yeah,
had like a
something like that.
posse at your table. Yeah. I was like, look at this guy.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your beginning there, John. When you were when Enemi started, tell us a little bit about how you got into it.
Basically, I always wanted to publish my own work versus, going with the big boys and all that. So we started publishing through Enemi. And we did a few books here and there. Then we did also a distribution route with Haven Distributors back then. And then after that, it all just broke apart. I took a little time away, and now we're trying to get back, but doing it in a different way. What we're going to do is not just publish. We're going to just do different routes. We're publishing graphic novels, joining with others, doing stuff a different type of way, not just one book. And that's going to be a straight, comic series. We're just getting stuff out, whether it be in television, film, whatever incorporates with it later on down the road.
Yeah, no, those are big moves, man. I like that. I like that. When you started and you started Enemy back what, in 2007? Is that when you guys started?
2007, yeah, back then, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that beginning. Tell us a little bit about how you started in the business. What made you start and how you got started?
Basically on my own. I always had a passion for comics, so decided to go my own way. Did it by myself in the beginning, then put it together a team, had a partner at the time. You know, he went on to different venues to do other stuff, pursue film and perfume business and stuff. And then just do my own thing. I wanted to do my own stories, do my own creations, do my own characters, get it out there. As you guys remember, when we did the Big Apple shows back then, you know, it was pretty good. It was pretty hot. You know, It was fun. Now, unfortunately, we're tied up like this, video meetings, there's no conventions, there's no, you know, stuff like that. But we'll try our best to get back on our feet and do whatever we can at this time.
I remember when we met you, you had I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, I remember Vengeance. I remember the logo. It was like a
Vengeance, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the character back then, right?
That was one of the flagship titles back then. We had Vengeance, Children of the Moon. We had a few other projects we were working on, you know, at that time, and just strictly stuck with that. And then we went straight to distribution with Haven Distributors, where we took a lot of independents in. We took a lot of indie titles to be featured. We did that for like a couple of months, and then Haven went out, so that deal fell through. But it would have worked out if we stuck to our guns. I believe it would have worked out great, especially with the way things are happening now with Diamond and DC Comics breaking away from Diamond and all these new scenarios that are coming up. It would have worked out.
So talk about that, because you know.
Yeah, I was going to say that
first. You know, because you were an independent publisher, what made you decide that you want to go into the distribution route? How did that start out? And walk us through those steps.
That started out basically back then when we were doing our own titles and we were trying to get distribution through Diamond and other routes. When we came across, you know, Haven and other people, we were like, you know what, maybe we should try this on our own. And we built our own catalog. It was a small little catalog. We only had like 6, 7 independent on there. And then we got more interest into it, and then more people were contacting us, and they're like, okay, we want to be a part of it. And then it jumped into a huge catalog. Right. You know, we had so many people come in. Even Neil Adams put in his stuff in the book. Wow. You know, nice. Back then. So it was like a lot of stuff that came in, and then we're like, you know what, let's try this. We partnered up with Lance from Haven at that time, and he was down for it. And then we're like, okay, we have the distribution, we have this, we have the catalog. And then we strictly became a catalog. So that took away, you know, a lot of time from the creating the books and all that stuff. And then we focused on that business. And then when Haven went out, unfortunately, it all just trickled down, fell apart.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So you gained the interest of creators throughout the independent creators throughout the industry. And how did you solicit? How did you partner with retailers?
With retailers, it was strictly direct. We contacted everybody. It was literally day to night. You know, we were working constantly, like midnight, 3 in the morning. We were doing whatever we could. And we were contacting retailers directly. Wow. You know, whether it be email them a catalog, physically mail them a catalog, you know, and that's the thing that we built up. So it could be done again.
Right. So what do you think?
Others are trying to do it, like Midtown Comics now. They're doing their own distribution route, you know, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do something similar to what we did at that time, but they're doing it their own way with DC Comics, which is fine, but it's hurting a lot of, you know, the businesses because everybody relied on Diamond. Back then, when we did it in 2007, it was a little bit more of an open market. Then Diamond came in and monopolized everything, you know, so it was more like an open market. People were more in touch, you know, base to base. It was a little bit easier. Right. Now it's all spread out, especially what happened, unfortunately, recently. You know, it all spread out.
Yeah.
Now,
did you? I'm sorry to interrupt, John. Did you have to take a certain percentage in order for the catalog to continue to thrive? What was the deal? If you could talk about that, what was the deal that say an independent publisher would strike with you in order to be in that catalog? What was the percentages? Because I know Diamond takes a lot.
At that time, I don't exactly recall the exact percentage.
Yeah.
Mostly my partner took care of that, but it was extremely fair. Right. We were extremely fair to being like, put more pocket into the creator versus, you know, anything on our behalf. And also it was mostly Haven. Haven was taking care of that part, that aspect. So they had their own rules and regulations and shipping and all that. So it was mostly on their behalf. What we did is we put together a catalog, and Haven was the actual physical distributor.
So what do you think were the factors that contributed to its demise?
Basically, there weren't a lot of orders. And Haven at that time, I don't know exactly, what happened with them. They just went out. And they went out, and then they tried to do their own version of the catalog. And then after that, like the first catalog that they did, I think it was called Indie Isle or something like that. I don't recall. But they went out and they completely shut down. Where they were, well, as you guys know, they were a distributor for a while, especially with independents. And then they just completely went out from there. And it just took off from there. Like, okay, fine, we don't publish the catalog for them anymore. A lot of independents were looking forward to it. We had so many independents in that catalog. And
I remember. I think I still have a copy of one of them.
What's that?
I believe I have a copy of one of the catalogs.
You probably do, yeah. I got plenty of copies still left over. We had copies where we had Scott Campbell do a cover. We had Neil Adams provide a cover for it. All these things, and it was great, and it was a juicy big catalog.
Yeah. Was it tough to get in contact with these guys? Like when you approached them, did they look at you like, what are you talking about? Or were they open to the idea?
What are you talking about? The independents themselves?
No, the Neil Adams and the J. Scott Campbell for the covers and things like that. Basically, they were interested.
Scott Campbell, Zenscope provided the cover.
Okay.
Because he had done a cover for them, and Zenscope was in the catalog.
Okay, gotcha.
So they had provided a cover. Neil, I personally asked him, and he provided the Monsters cover at that time. Because me and Neil, we go back, and he was glad to do it, and we went to his office, dropped off copies. He's a really down-to-earth person. He's a really nice guy and extremely talented. And we did an interview with him in the catalog. We did so many things at that time that you wouldn't expect somebody to do. You wouldn't expect to reach a plateau. So we went to Wizard Magazine. We were invited there. We did interviews with them. We sat down with them. They invited us over there to talk about the catalog.
Right.
I was trying to get a cover to Wizard Magazine at that time, and we were that close to getting it. Imagine now putting that on the cover of Wizard back then when Wizard.
Of course.
Right.
And it wasn't to benefit us. It was just to benefit everybody else.
We're at a time right now where it's almost as if it's resetting. And there are a lot of small independents that are out there looking at this gap that was created between DC and Diamond, right? So based on your experience, what advice would you give to somebody, hindsight, looking back, playing devil's advocate, lessons learned, if they're trying to go that route and do an independent distribution channel to fill a void? What advice would you give them? What kind of things you would like them to avoid and things that they should capitalize on?
What they should do right now is the perfect time for independence. Now, if you notice the past few years, there's more independent aisles in the comic book shop. Yes. Where before it was just the aisle of Marvel, DC, and Image. And a few here, Dark Horse, and a few there. Now you have a whole aisle devoted to independence, and you have a new type of reader. I think me and Jorge, we were discussing this earlier. Nobody wants the superhero stuff anymore. Okay, everybody thinks they're their own hero nowadays. So the superhero stuff is just a constant, like Jorge said, a recycling type of deal.
Right.
How many times is Aunt May gonna die? How many times is this gonna be repeated? Fine. It's the stories we grew up with. It's the characters we love, we appreciate. We go spend our money to watch the movies. But you know what? Like I was discussing with Jorge before, I'm 100% sure somebody will go see a Wonder Duck animated series. Somebody would definitely go see There's an Alien in My Toilet series on Netflix or anything. Guaranteed. It's just that it needs to get its outlet. It needs to get shined out there and shown. Right. It has to be. Because you see, Sam, look what I found.
Look at that plug! Wow, that is awesome.
I first got this from Sam back in the day. He even signed it, if you can see it right
Look
there.
at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, this book is freaking cool. The character is cool. You know, I love this stuff. And you're telling me something like this cannot be on TV? Something like this cannot be on? Of course it could. It's very marketable.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because we were
just to know about it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
we were
Then
just
we
talking
have
about
this little gem.
John, you're just pulling everything out. Right? You're like,
Well, listen, if we're gonna talk the talk, walk the walk. You know, they're here.
I hear you,
They're
man. I
here.
hear you.
You know,
We were just talking about that, talking about beyond the comics, and what you're talking about right now, where like people would like to see that stuff. And I was telling Sam, the most rewarding thing. Remember, I told you, Sam, the most rewarding thing is when somebody pulls out that old comic that they showed, because these comic books that we made back in 10 years ago, they're like, we were talking about shelf lives. The shelf life of these characters are endless because we can do whatever we want. We are the owners of these properties, so we can pitch them however we want. And and I think that's part of the key of how to keep these things going.
Right.
Yeah, that's the truth, man. Your characters, both characters. There's an alien in my toilet, Wonder Duck. There's no reason. There's absolutely no reason. Nobody should be introduced to them. Nobody should have them on their TV sets, whether it be a YouTube series or anything. There's absolutely no reason. Ross, over here, Wonder Duck. There's an alien in my toilet. All those forbidden. I have that, but I couldn't find it this morning. The black and white.
The black and white. Nice.
That's amazing, Jeff.
And why did I keep them? I kept them because I enjoyed them. Yeah. Your book just came out, Wonder Duck. That's recent.
Yeah, that's recent.
I kept those. From 2007. We're in 2020.
Jesus.
It's not something that I read and I said, you know what? All right. All right. I kept them because I enjoyed them and I want to see more of that. And we should see more of that. And somehow we should all unite as independents and try to do something.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about your projects, John. Some of the stuff that you have going on. I know Vengeance was your flagship. Mm-hmm. Tell us about some of the other things that you have going on down the pike right now.
Right now, what we're doing, like we said, with Enemi, we're just going to do graphic novels because obviously those sell better at the given time.
Right.
Okay. To do a comic book series is not worth it at the moment. You could do a flat out comic book series. It's not going to fly because right now the business and the industry doesn't know where it's at. So for a retailer and a fan to sit over there and, pick up a comic book every month or every 3 weeks, whatever have you, it just doesn't fly because nobody knows when they're getting shipping, where it's going to be at, what stores are closing. There's only 2,000 plus retailers out there, which doesn't give us a broad market, Me personally, I think it should go back to the old days. If you notice the way things are working now, things are going back to the 80s. Meanwhile, we're in 2020.
Right.
The way we're living, the way we're acting, the way we are, things are going back there. So we should go back as well. We should go back to old school, old way of doing business. Have our books in 7-Eleven. Have our books in Walmart. Have them in outlets that you would never think. And believe me, you make a phone call, any of you two guys, any of these products, all you got to do is a phone call and email and say, hey, I want my book in Walmart. I want it in 7-Eleven. And you know what? You'd be surprised at what you get. You'd be surprised at the responses that you get. Yeah. That's what we should do as independents. What we're doing now is like graphic novels. We're crossing over with other people as well. So I'm trying to find other creators to promote their stuff and mine at the same time. Like we're doing right now with Jahil over in London. He has the Grok. I've always loved the character. He's a great guy, and as a creator, he knows what he's doing. And I wanted to put the Bionic Caveman, my character, and his character together for a one shot. Why did we do that? Because he has the London base. We have the New York, U.S. base.
Right.
So it gives promotion to my character. It gives promotion to his character over here. So it works out that way because this is his book here, The Grok.
Oh, yes.
It's a really, really cool book, really cool character. It's fantastic. Coloring, everything inside. But not a lot of people know about it.
Right.
Here in the States.
Right.
You can find this at the shops. You can find them all over wherever you walk out there. But over here, it needs to get notarized. It needs to get seen.
Right.
So that's the problem, that we're missing out on great characters, great stories versus what we keep getting fed all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's excellent, dude. I mean, I would be very interested in talking to him about that and just his you know, his experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to contact him. He's a great guy. If you want to have him on the show, he's really cool people. You know, he just did an interview for my son's YouTube channel this morning.
Nice.
I know somebody else did. Thank you. You know, so he's really a great guy. I'm going to show you the cover to the actual novel. This is the cover here. The Bionic Caveman and the Grok.
Right. Nice.
Yeah, I've seen you post that on the on Instagram.
Yeah, that's the actual
great.
Yes, that's what. Yeah.
Now,
I've been up since 5 doing that.
you do everything by hand, right, John? You do the
Me
coloring
personally,
by
yes.
hand.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Nothing's digital.
No offense to anybody that does digital,
Mhm.
you know, but I always talk straight. You know, I say it how it is. I'm not going to do the digital. Ain't happening. It takes away from the artist. You have some good artists, I'm not going to even say names, okay, that when they did their artwork physically, and then you see them transfer to digital, they lose.
Right.
They lose their quality. They lose that it factor.
Yeah.
You know, if my neck has to hurt and my back has to break, whatever, and I have to get dirty, I'm
Yeah.
cool with it. You know, it takes more time. It takes more, you know, but
Yeah.
it takes away from stuff. You know, it takes away from what the fans are. You know, when you read a comic book, you're looking for mistakes. You know, you're looking for all these kind of things. You're looking for where's the colorist forgot to color this guy's hand. You're looking for those things. Digital, though, it's just what it is. It's digital. You know, I stay away from it personally.
I got you. Well, now, how do you feel about, like, say for example, and I understand your point in staying conventional as far as the coloring, but what about that kid who's so used to seeing digital artwork that they may say, oh, I don't know, that looks weird. I rather it was digital. Do you think that could possibly happen where, like, the audience?
Absolutely. Our kids nowadays, they see stuff that, you know, the movies have better graphics, the computer games have better graphics. Of course, they're used to it, you know, but there ain't nothing wrong with somebody seeing something that's what might be considered low budget, you know, because guess what? Everything came from low budget.
Right.
There's always a blueprint to something, you know? So if you think about it, that's just the way it is. If somebody's interested, they'll like it. They'll like it for what it is.
Right.
Of course, our kids nowadays, they're used to all that stuff.
Yeah.
They're definitely used to it, and that's the first thing that grabs them. But, you know, it doesn't mean that something else won't grab them.
Yeah.
You know, example, you remember The Simpsons when they first came out?
Sure.
The first episode? It was not what we're seeing now.
No.
The characters were not developed. So it takes time to develop something and get it out there.
Right. We were talking about that as far as another artist made a comment on Facebook saying that don't worry, don't go back and try to revise your previous work. Just keep on moving forward. Respect what you did. It'll evolve. You will evolve as an artist, as a writer, and you'll get better. But respect the work that's already been done. Leave it alone. And similar with The Simpsons. You know, they didn't go back and redo the first episode. They just evolved. So I think that's a good way of looking at it, because some people say, like, if you had a product 10 years ago, well, maybe I should just redo the whole thing. No, just move on and build where you left off.
Yeah, build from that foundation. We all make terrible stories and ideas and, you know, stuff. I admit it. You know, a couple of my books I published back in 2007, I look at them now, I'm like, damn, it's garbage. You know, I say it how it is. You know, I'll put myself down. I don't care. But the thing is, you know, that's like Sam said, you evolve from there. You learn from that. You learn from your hiring the wrong printer, you know, hiring the wrong staff, the wrong crew, the wrong colorist, you know, the wrong person to draw your stuff. You learn from that. And you know what? Experience is key.
Yes.
Yeah.
Experience is key.
Absolutely, man.
At any age, experience is key.
Yep.
Totally agree. Now, you did say you stepped away for a little while from the industry. Could you talk a little bit about that, or is that something that you rather not
no, basically, I stepped away for a little while because what happened with Enemi, it kind of disappointed me. and also what happened with Haven disappointed me. And then I took care of myself. I had some personal health issues to deal with. Gotcha. You know, I was diagnosed with stenosis and ruptured discs in my neck, and that's due to that. You know, and then I just took care of myself, took some time to heal, come back strong. You know, and that was not basically it. And then life got in the way. You know, kid, this, that. You know, everything happens all at once.
Yeah.
Now I'm back on track.
Good.
Now I'm focused. I feel better. I took care of myself. I healed myself. So I'm back on track. And hopefully, once we get through this, you know, what we're going through now, this phase, everything will work out the way it's supposed to. If it doesn't, to be honest, at least you give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
Absolutely.
That's what's important in life. Give yourself that chance. We're only here one time. We're not here twice.
Right.
You know, we're not here to make millions of dollars. We're not here to do anything. We're not for that. We're here to tell our stories, do our characters, do what we got to do. Whoever likes it, likes it. Whoever doesn't have to buy it.
Right.
You know, there's other stuff to do and there's other stuff to buy if they like it.
Yeah. No, I think that's important. It's important to realize that and be, like you said, be honest with yourself, be honest with people, know your limitations, but keep creating, you know, keep creating.
Yeah,
and
dude.
I think that's key.
If I'm going to sit here and do like a 80-page book and print it and do it for myself, I'll do so.
Right.
You know, if nobody buys it, oh, well. Did I get it? Do I have it in my hands? You know, that's what I care about. Right. And if something happens from it, cool.
Right.
You know, but at least you get to say your personal message. You get to express yourself, you know, do you, like we say.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
That's the main thing in life.
Yeah.
Do you, and that's it. Don't let anybody get in your way. Don't let anybody put you down. Don't let them, like, you know, mislead you, you know, all that. Just do you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. This time has flown by, John, but I definitely want to get, you know, for the people who are listening to the show, when will your book be out? And where can they find it or find you if they want to follow you and things of that nature?
Right now, I'm only on Instagram.
Okay.
You can follow me there at John Kotsis Art. And as far as the book, we're putting it together now. It's a monster. It's like 88-page book. And what we're doing is sharing the art duties on it. So me and Jahil, he's doing parts, I'm doing parts, and we're doing very unorthodox way of getting a book together.
Right.
Where I'm doing a few pages, sending him a few pages, and he follows through on the next couple pages. You know, we're doing it that way. And this book, hopefully, maybe by 2021, we'll get it out due to the fact of everything that's going around. You know, we got to be honest. It's not going to be in 3 months. It's not going to be in a month. It's not going to be like that. You know, an official release date is not set in stone.
Okay.
You know?
Right. Okay. And being that you dabbled in distribution, how are you guys planning on distributing this book? I mean, I know you're in the States and he's in the UK. How have you guys talked about how this thing is going to be put out?
Well, on this particular one, we might end up going avenues like Diamond, but we might take it another route. But we are going to do other stuff like Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, those places like that. And you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I'll pick up the phone. I'll call Kmart. I'll call whoever.
Right.
You know, it only takes 2 minutes to call somebody. And whoever likes it, if they like it, cool, pick it up. You know, it doesn't hurt. Believe me.
Right.
The person that you think you can't talk to, you will.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how it works.
Now, I appreciate those words of wisdom, John. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you taking the time out. I know this show will air on July 31st, but today's Father's Day, so I want to wish you a very happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Your son, I know your son's documentary would have already been out by the time this airs. It would have been out on July 4th, but he did tell me that there are there's a part 2 and a part 3. Don't know when that's coming out yet. So if it's not out, people should definitely check that out if they haven't already.
Yeah,
thank you. I appreciate
the trailer was really good.
Trailer was phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, he works hard. You know, he works hard. He does everything by himself, which is pretty amazing, you know.
He's a good kid, man. He's a good kid. He did a great job.
Thank you.
All right, bud. Well, listen, thank you again for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. We'll definitely have to touch base again. We're going to contact the creator of the Gronk, see if he wants to be on the show, and then you know, we'll talk some more shop.
You got it.
All right, John.
Thank you.
Have a good one, buddy.
Good seeing you guys, man.
Take care, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes. So that was fascinating.
That was awesome, man.
Fascinating.
I love John, bro. He just says it how it is. You know, he's like, yo, dude, I'm gonna draw this by hand. All right, you're gonna buy it. That's it. I don't care.
I'm taking 2 rocks and I'm going in a cave wall and I'm creating hieroglyphics and you're gonna buy it.
He doesn't care.
Yeah,
I
know.
don't care. He's like, as a matter of fact, I hate digital. Like, I love it. I love the attitude.
If I see someone doing digital, I'm gonna hit him over the head.
But I love it. He's, you know, hey, he says it how it is. That's what he feels. That's what he's saying. And he's been doing this for a while, man. He's been doing this for a while.
Yeah,
but it's like you, dude. Like, you just can't. He left for a while. He's back in it, man.
Yes.
He's back in it.
But not only that, I mean, look at this. It's crazy, you know. So it's funny. It's really fascinating because when I decided to come back in, CAG is back. Keith Murphy.
Yeah, Keith Murphy,
built,
yes.
CAG is back. A lot of indies that were gone are back. I mean, I think there's like this excitement going on. I think the COVID, you know, put a little, you know, burst the wind a little bit because, you know, there's some momentum going on right now because there's a lot of cats that are out there right now that are looking to finish what they started. And it's an exciting time. But with the talking about with Haven, I want, you know, that we could talk to him about just that for a long time. He kept fast forwarding. You know, I'm trying to, you know, I was like, get him to go back, walk through the details because we just had an interview with a publisher that's trying to go distribution route. So it's like if we can take anything from this episode and learn from it, you know, to avoid some of those pitfalls, you know, that's how I was trying to probe and get some of that information out because, yes, right now, we're at a sensitive time where people are going to try to capitalize, but if you rush, you're going to miss a few steps. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this is where you want to be smart and methodical and not just rush because, oh, look, DC's gone. You know, that means going to need some content and you only have one issue and you can't follow up and you're going to, you know, look like a knucklehead and then you're going to, you know, blacklist yourself. Yeah. But, you know, how do we get smart and do things methodically and build towards something? And so his story is fascinating because there's so many layers to that onion. He just kept going to the salad. I said, no. I said, peel one layer at a time.
He's John's been doing, and I remember when he was doing the distribution stuff, but like he said, it took away from his creativity because now that's a 24/7 job. You know, where you're hustling, you have to get people into the book, and he did say that there was little interest. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
and I feel his pain because to Craze takes a lot of my time. So this show takes a lot of my time, and so I have to try to schedule time for the books, you know, to make sure I'm making that time to be able to produce the content. So I get it. It's like you're caught between two worlds. And I think for me, it's like what brings me peace is that Forbidden is done. I just, you know, once you're once you're done with the lettering, then that just formatting it and going to press. So at least for that, I can sleep at night saying I have one major hurdle done.
Right.
You know, and
then you can focus on the next thing
while I'm working
creatively.
Yes, while I'm working on the next pages of There's Name in My Toilet, you know, little by little. So I think, you know, so that's where when I release Forbidden, the entire series is done. It's ready. It's going. You know, collected in one trade, put out singles.
Yeah, that was another thing that he made a good point about the single issue. You know, especially in today's climate, because we don't know who's distributing it, when it's getting to the store. Is the store going to be open? It's very hard to kind of, you know, do that on a monthly basis, which is why one book, you know, Barnes & Nobles is still there, Amazon's online. You can get one book out to the masses versus, you know, single issues, you know, serials, boom, every month. It's kind of tough. But when you do have the graphic novel, when you do have that prepared, the beauty of that is that you can split that up and start selling it in single issues if you want, because it's already complete.
You could, and that's the great thing about it, you know, and when conventions start again, it's like I can have just issue 1 at the conventions as a pitch to sell the trade paperback. So if you like issue 1, here's the trade, boom.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? There's no follow up.
Exactly.
It's just the trade. So I think
Yeah.
that's another way. So it's all about your marketing strategy and how you're going to approach it. So I mean, guys like John have so much wealth of information that it's great to be able to speak to them, because there's a lot of newbies coming in. Hey guys, if you haven't picked up on Catch the Craze and on these indies that've been around and done it, check it out. Listen to their story, because there's some things you can take away as you're starting your journey in this game, so you can avoid some things. You know,
absolutely, absolutely, and that actually is a good segue to talk about what we have coming down the pike, as far as the Get Your Meds portion of the show.
Right.
I know we're gonna have artists that we're still booking, but I was talking to JD Calderon, Jose,
Calderon.
and speaking of people with a wealth of information, he's done a lot. He's done a lot as far as crowdfunding for his projects.
Yes.
So what I'm gonna do is a 4-part expose.
Remember that group?
Jose. Yeah, I do. So I'm gonna talk to him about the process of getting a crowdfunding campaign going from soup to nuts, and we'll split it up into 4 parts. So every episode next month, you'll get from the beginning all the way to the end on how to do that. So hopefully that'll be helpful for people who want to do a crowdfunding campaign. So don't miss any episode next month, because it is a 4-parter. And if you do miss an episode, you can always go back and watch it. But yeah, stay current on that stuff, because that's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very informative.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I we both were on JD's show. And it's funny because we go back, so it's a comfortable platform to be able to talk to a buddy and a peer. So when we were talking, he asked me things that I haven't even thought about, for my past. So I'm looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. So there are times if you know me, you can see where my mind, I'm thinking about, oh, okay. But we met at how did we meet JD?
I want to say it was a Big Apple con, bro, because I feel like we met. Like if we met him that far back, I think it was at one of those conventions.
Was it through the Wolf?
Through the Wolf.
And it was because of printing.
Yes,
because
he used to do that.
Yes, he used to be. Yes, that's how we met. Yes.
And that's how we met Lewis.
Yes.
And
Lewis we met because he came over to the table and bought a book.
He bought books.
He started out as a fan and then became a friend.
Right. And then he became a really close friend of the Wolves. They became like inseparable.
Yeah, those two were like, it was like
that was amazing.
All I remember is that whenever he got scared, he's like, David! David!
That was funny, dude.
I see a picture of David holding him like this. And
I miss Lewis, man. Lewis was a very big supporter of Russ 5377.
Yes, he really
was. And it was one of those things. It was one of those things where like, it was that kind of drives you. You know what I mean? When you see, because I'm a positive person, so I don't focus on, oh, that guy hates it, so I'm just gonna stop doing it. I focus on the one guy that likes it, and latch onto that and say, you know what, I'm gonna do it for that guy.
Yes.
I'm gonna keep doing it for that one guy that likes it. I'm gonna keep doing this. You know, so he was a very, very intricate part in that, and and I thank him. I mean, I think he's on Instagram. So if he watches the show, thank you, Lewis. Appreciate it, man.
Yes,
you're the man.
Koshi. Remember?
Yeah, Koshi, baby, Koshi. Yes.
He had his own book at the time, and he also hired.
Big Cat
Studios, yes.
Yeah.
I hooked up Big Cat Studios with a lot of clients, and these guys are still trying to scam me.
They're good guys.
No loyalty.
They're good guys.
No loyalty, no love. But son of a biscuit eaters. But no, it's an exciting time. I think we talked about when we started with Catch the Craze, it'll take a year to build momentum, and we're at that point we're starting to build momentum.
Yeah, here it comes. Yeah, it's it's like we're going like this, and pretty soon you just be and everything would just come out, and people would start doing what they're doing. So it just takes time.
That going down is not crashing, right?
No, it's just speeding up. It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You're like, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're just off. You're off and running.
About to go down.
You know it's gonna happen. You know it's bound to happen.
Yeah,
so you just gotta be ready for it. So we just gotta be ready for it.
Yes.
And thank everybody for the subscriptions and subscribing to the channel. Keep telling your friends about it. Check out Sam's website, iCreateStories.com. Check out my website, MedinaWhip.com. Follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
So yeah, man, we got stuff.
Yeah, so thank you again. Don't forget to hit the bell so that you don't miss another episode. Check out YouTube and Facebook, our event calendars, because we have all the guests that are lined up coming up. So you can actually, save it, bookmark it, so that way when that show goes live, you're ready to go. And again, if there's a guest out there that you want to be on the show, let us know. If you are a comic creator, writer, if you are an independent musician, a gamer, cosplay person, just reach out to us. Hit me up on Twitter at Craze. Hit us up on Instagram, either on Craze or at Medina Whip. We're there. Let us know. Thank you again for watching. We appreciate you 100%. This is why we do it. I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
George the Dreamer Medina.
And we're going to credits.
It's just easy. It's not. Crazy. I'm so crazy. You so crazy.
Acquiesce.
Crazy.
No, it's about my friend Acquiesce. I met him.
Say my name. Say my name.
Right?
This
is what you were thinking? Yes.
Oh,
He described me. He said, I'm the.
You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.
Candy girl.